Hello everyone, this is part 16 of What If Naruto Was Hashirama's Heir, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Can you really call that torture? Questioned Yugito as she and Naruto walked out of a local bar. Though the bar actually was a toad which morphed down to its original size upon Naruto and Yugito's exit. Naruto watched the toad hop into the large lake as he looked up at the still rainy sky of Omegakure. Turning his head to Yugito, Naruto just smiled. Of course it's torture. Worked, didn't it? Questioned Naruto, pulling out a feather. The same feather Naruto interrogated the two captured genin to get information on Pain, the Akatsuki's leader. It'd work on anybody, even you. Naruto slipped the feather perfectly through Yugito's trench coat as he hit her right in her side. Ah, stop! Shouted Yugito in the middle of the street as Naruto attacked her with the feather. Luckily no one was around to see as Naruto began with question 1. Do you love me? Said Naruto as Yugito began to cry from laughing and fell to the ground as Naruto never relented. Yes. Strained out Yugito, seemingly helpless against the feather. Am I the hunkiest guy in the world? Said Naruto again as Yugito shook her head no. Naruto pulled out another feather. Seems that you're lying. Double time. Naruto Menma, whatever the hell your name is, said Jiraiya as Naruto stopped assaulting Yugito. Kitsune Kurama, said Yugito on the ground as Jiraiya nodded. Though Jiraiya was one of the genin they just tortured. Gamadira, Kujiyatsuri no Jutsu, Toad Flatness, Shadow Manipulation Technique, said Naruto, noting the technique the Toad Sannin was using at the moment. So that's how you're supposed to use that jutsu. I liked it better when Naruto used it and made you fondle yourself. Yugito internally shook her head at her Bayu before Jiraiya went over the plan once more. We know that he being the leader, is in the tallest tower now, said Jiraiya as the two Jinchuriki nodded. I'll head through the west side, while you two go toward the north before splitting. If you see an Akatsuki member, do not engage them. Rather jump out to the sea and shoot up a flare. There, the other two will join and we'll whip some Akatsuki ass free of civilians or ninja interference. Everybody got it? The two Jinchuriki nodded again. Great, let's get to it then. The two Jinchuriki vanished in a shunshin as Jiraiya walked off to begin his own part of the plan. With Nagato still perched in the tallest tower was the red-head leader of Akatsuki, Nagato. Dressed in his Akatsuki cloak, Nagato placed his hands in the ram seal. Conan, I'm going to stop the rain. Use your jutsu and locate all three of them, said Nagato, channeling his chakra as Conan nodded her head. When you do, I will face the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. And you will handle Jiraiya and the Nibi Jinchuriki with 4 of my paths. Here we go. Just as the rain stopped dropping, Conan fluttered into hundreds of sheets of paper before blowing past Nagato through the opening in the tall tower. Here in a few minutes, Kyuubi, I will defeat you, said Nagato as his 6 paths walked up behind him. You made a mistake coming here. Nagato, are you sure you're ready? Questioned the masked man behind the Akatsuki leader. Nagato said nothing as he simply leaped off the ledge. The masked man gave a nod. Then it is settled. Good luck. You will definitely need it. Same time, underneath Konoha. 2 fireballs battled each other as Sasuke faced off against Itachi. Sasuke dominated Itachi in the battle as the fire moved closer to Itachi with every passing second. Seems I may have been wrong, said Itachi, now standing behind Sasuke with a kunai ready. Sasuke turned an eye toward Itachi before dispelling in a puff of smoke. A shadow clone. The fire that once was close to Itachi immediately turned back due to Sasuke's disappearance. The fire steamrolled the Itachi clone as Itachi's eyes went wide due to Sasuke stabbing him through the chest from behind with his sword. I'm not the same kid from back then, said Sasuke as Itachi smiled slyly to himself, unseen by Sasuke. So it seems, said Itachi as Sasuke turned while letting his sword go. As he turned, Sasuke placed a hand over his wrist as several shurikens appeared. The Itachi Sasuke stabbed dissolved into crows as another Itachi appeared in front of him. Sasuke tossed a shuriken that was met midway with one from Itachi. The two Uchihas began a sequence of shuriken and kunai tossing as clanging rang out from the metal hitting metal. Sasuke ran out of shuriken as Itachi flung two more of Sasuke's own shuriken back at him. Grabbing his sword again, Sasuke blocked both of the shurikens before watching Itachi jump back as a masked root ninja appeared in front of Sasuke with his Tanto-ed back. Sasuke Teiko. No, this is not your fight, said Sasuke as the root Anbu turned to look at him. I will fight him alone. Just make sure that he doesn't leave this place if he defeats me. Understood. As Sasuke said that, dozens of root Anbu appeared across the balcony as they all nodded their heads. The root Anbu between the two brothers nodded his own head before jumping back up on the balcony to watch the fight. Seems you've taken over this program in Danzo's place, said Itachi as Sasuke simply stabbed his sword in the ground. As I said, no more talking, replied Sasuke as he let lightning course through his sword. Chidori Kuken, Chidori sword. An electric surge sparked across the ground erratically and widespread as it forced Itachi to jump over it. That proved unwise as Sasuke met him in midair with a Chidori in hand. Just as Sasuke ready to stab into Itachi, he noticed something off about the Itachi in front of him. Chidori Iso, Chidori spear, said Sasuke as the Chidori in his hand extended into a spear that stabbed cleanly through Itachi. As soon as the lightning pierced Itachi, he detonated in an explosion. Another clone. Sasuke landed on the ground before catching a quick movement out of the corner of his eye. Moving his head forward, Sasuke dodged the punch from Itachi as he felt his brother wrap that arm around his neck. Sasuke attempted a punch to Itachi's gut that the elder Uchiha blocked easily before he brought Sasuke face to face with him. He got me. Tsukiyomi, Moon Reader. A Megacore, with Naruto. Thank you, said Naruto still disguised as Kitsune Kurama. He received dumplings from a woman as he walked away from her store. Naruto split up with Yugito several minutes ago, having decided he'd head in on the backside of the tower while Yugito went through the front door. Naruto walked away from her store as he looked up. Naruto now stood in front of the tallest tower that the Akatsuki leader should be in. Naruto vanished in another shunshin as he appeared on the side of the tall tower. Walking up the side of it that faced the lake, Naruto attempted to remain unseen by any of the villagers. Naruto scaled the tall tower, keeping chakra to his feet to stay stuck to the building. Naruto jolted slightly as the sixth sense he garnered from his time with Jiraiya was going haywire. The same sense that most high-level shinobi have after years of experience. My oh shit sense is going off, thought Naruto before wondering why. I don't sense anyone near me. What's going on? Kurama, am I tripping? I don't know. You don't know. I thought your sensing abilities were better than mine. Oh, they are. It's just, I don't know what tripping means. I thought you said our personalities were merging. And you've seen everything in my life. How do you not know what tripping means? Questioned Naruto again as Kurama gave him a shrug. Did you just shrug at me? Naruto could feel Kurama's grin. Of course I know what tripping means. But no, I can't feel anyone near either, replied Kurama before adding. But that doesn't make sense. Your oh shit sense isn't ever wrong. Even mine is going off. That's what I'm saying, said Naruto in reply before he and Kurama heard a voice. Hello, Kyuubi. Naruto turned his head and got a glimpse of the red-headed man before getting hit hard by an invisible force. Naruto went sailing through the air as he regained his bearings before gracefully landing on the lake. You will be captured here today. Digging into his ninja pouch, Naruto tried to make headway of what just happened. What just hit me? And it looked as though he was floating in midair, thought Naruto before pulling out his flare gun. Pulling the trigger and letting the flare fly, Naruto saw the redhead appear in front of him again atop the lake. This time with two others beside him. A girl with orange hair and another guy with long orange hair. Kurama, what's up with their eyes? Naruto, those are the same eyes as Gigi. The Rinnegan. How do this guy and two others have the same eyes as the Sage of Six Paths? Thought Naruto as the male with orange hair rushed him. Naruto parried the punch that came as he then blocked the follow-up kick from the man. Gripping his leg, Naruto tossed the man away before looking and seeing the girl flow through hand seals. Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique, said the girl as a large bird appeared underneath her that took her and the redhead into the air. Naruto looked up at the two before ducking the punch from behind by the orange-haired man. Naruto grabbed the guy's wrist before flipping him over his head and down into the lake below him with a splash. Naruto, above you. Naruto saw dozens of eggs falling from the sky. The bird from earlier was dropping them, and as an egg hit the water, it detonated on contact. Naruto attempted to jump out of the way only to feel the first guy grip his ankles from under the water. Naruto's eyes went wide when 3 eggs landed next to him. Boom! A large explosion rocked the area around the Jinchuriki as water splashed up high. Nagato and the girl beside him looked down at the explosion before noticing no sign of Naruto. Without turning his head, Nagato moved a hand directly at the now airborne Naruto behind him. How? There's no way he noticed my approach, thought Naruto before feeling the same invisible force from before. Naruto went sailing backward again as he tumbled on top of the water before stopping and sinking. As he sank in the lake, Naruto heard Kurama speak again. The Rinnegan eliminates blind spots. The 3 of them all share the same field of vision, said Kurama as Naruto listened. I'm sure you felt how cold that orange-haired male was. He's a reanimated body. Reanimated body. How is that possible? Questioned Naruto as the makeup and hair dye began to disappear in the water. Naruto's normal appearance began to shine through as he tried to make headway of what was going on. If he was an Edo Tensei, he wouldn't be cold. Is that the power of the Sage of 6 Paths? And speaking of 6 paths, there's only 3 of them. Where's the rest? I hazard to guess they are with Yugito and Jiraiya. If he knows you're here, then I'm sure he knows they are as well, said Kurama before adding. And no, the piercings on their skin allow them to move. I'm assuming the redhead is the original and as such is controlling all of them at the same time. The guy must have amazing mental prowess to do all that, thought Naruto before biting his thumb underwater. Handling the shared vision while also coordinating them. Pretty impressive. Do not tread lightly, Naruto. This is not an opponent you can mess around with. I didn't get to spend much time with Gigi nor see him fight, but he did seal the beast he created me from on his deathbed. A beast mightier than me even without my chakra that fully forms it. Understood, thought Naruto in reply before placing his hand directly below him. Kuchio's summoning. Nagato continued to stare down at the spot Naruto sunk into the water for any sign of the Jinchuriki. My human path saw the boy come up behind me from the water. He's much quicker than the reports said. This is a problem as I'm not fully capable of fighting while coordinating all of my paths. It's more difficult than I first thought Nagato before seeing a large orange toad rise out of the water with Naruto on top of his head. Seems he summoned a toad. My animal path will deal with that. Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique. Landing on the lake below, the female path slammed her hand down. A large puff of smoke occurred as Naruto and his summon disregarded that and took aim at Nagato. Kaiten, Gamayu Enden, fire style, toad oil flame bombs, said Naruto spewing out oil as Gamakichi fired out a torrent of flames. Nagato's bird flew down and out of the way of the large-scale fire attack as he then looked down to see a dozen Narutos coming from underneath the water at him. Let's see how you handle this. His jutsu was aimed like that to get me closer to the water so his clones could get me, thought Nagato before pointing a hand down. However, it's too late. Shinra Tensei, almighty push. Another invisible force ripped through the air as it threw the clones asunder and they dispelled on contact with the water below. Naruto received the information from his clones as he processed it internally. He didn't use that jutsu immediately, thought Naruto turning his head at the human path still on the lake. He saw those clones coming but waited until they got close. That either means he couldn't use the jutsu until they were within a certain distance or there's a time limit between uses. Roughly 10 seconds or so. Naruto's thoughts ended as from the puff of smoke by the female path, a large 2-headed dog came rushing out at him and Gamakichi. I got this, said Gamakichi as he unsheathed his sword. The dog continued its charge as Gamakichi timed his strike perfectly. Cutting cleanly in the spot between the 2 heads, Gamakichi sliced the dog into 2. Gamakichi and Naruto grew surprised when the dog actually split into 2 dogs that now stood on either side of them. Whoa, said Naruto as he stood on Gamakichi's head facing one dog while Gamakichi looked at the other. It can split like that. But then again, I don't have time for this. We need to start taking them out and find Jiraiya-sensei and Yugi-chan. They haven't made it here after I sent my flare. Naruto looked to his right to see the male path coming for him. Turning back forward, Naruto saw the dog coming as well. Naruto slammed his hands in the snake seal. Mokuton, Jukai Koten, wood style, a nativity of a sea of trees, said Naruto as a forest sprang up from the lake immediately within a second. The trees captured the path and ensnared both dogs in their branches. Gamakichi did a spin as he sliced through the dogs cleanly, this time with blood spewing across the water. Before Gamakichi's spin, Naruto was already jumping at the captured path with a charged-up Rasengan in hand. Nagato received the view of his path and animal summons before getting the views of his other paths that were with Jiraiya and Yugito. Seems I was wrong to separate us. With my powers being split and me now being in the battle, I can't use Deva path as often. And it's harder to control them when they are separated and my focus is drawn to the Jinchuriki, thought Nagato, seeing his other paths losing to the team of Jiraiya and Yugito. I can solve that now. Kuchio's no jutsu, summoning technique. Naruto slammed his Rasengan into the path and as it began to ground its way into the man's stomach, he vanished. Naruto was shocked as he let his Rasengan dissipate. Turning around, Naruto now saw 7 people besides him and Nagato. Nagato sat perched on the bird above them as Naruto stared at his 6 paths and a blue-haired woman. The first 2 paths were the girl and guy he'd been facing. Though the guy looked down for the count as the Rasengan still hit home despite him being summoned. The others were a spiky-haired orange guy, a bald tall one, a spiky-haired but slightly older one, and a chubby one with an orange ponytail. Though the bald one and chubby one all looked hurt as well. Not only can he summon those weird creatures, thought Naruto as the 2 dogs seemed to heal and separate again into 4 dogs that surrounded him and Gamakichi on the lake. But he can summon his other people as well. Maybe that's how those 2 in Kumo got away. Jiraiya-sensei is stronger than we thought and the pains weren't moving like normal against them, thought Konan, looking mildly hurt as she looked at Naruto. He must be strong if he can keep Nagato busy whilst killing a path himself. Do not fret, Konan. We will handle him now before those 2 can join, said Nagato as Naruto's muscles tensed along with Gamakichi. Bro, what are we going to do? Naruto jumped on top of Gamakichi's head again before clapping his hands and then holding his fingers in a cross sign. We are going to stall until Sensei and Yugi-chan get here by attacking widespread. And you know which jutsu I want to use first, said Naruto as Gamakichi smiled. Gama Ukage Bunshin no Jutsu, Toad Oil Shadow Clone Technique. All around, dozens of Naruto spawned to life. Nagato grew impressed with the boy as he noticed him now outside of the dogs and facing all of them with his clones surrounding them. And to make sure he can't use that jutsu, thought Naruto as a clone appeared beside Nagato in a shunshin. Nagato noticed the clone and the large Rasengan in its hand as he simply blasted it away with another Shinra Tensei, 10 seconds. He doesn't waste a moment. And with Deva Path out of commission for a moment, 8 seconds, thought Nagato, turning to see Gamakichi hold the tiger seal while Naruto placed a hand to his back. He used the smoke created by the clones to get away from us. Wonder what he'll do now. So many clones, thought Konan before noticing all of them just smirking. Why do they have that look? Nagato's eyes widened when he realized that the toad was building up fire chakra. The Naruto clones turned to oil that settled all across the lake in a wide area in front of Naruto and his toad. 4 seconds, I won't make it in time to block this. He's going to. Kaiten, Choshinsei, fire style, supernova, said Naruto as Gamakichi blew out a powerful torrent of wind-enhanced flames. The fire reached the oil and immediately spread across the lake in a fiery explosion. Nagato's dog summons baked in the fire before dispelling in a puff of smoke. That worked better than I thought it would. Shima Basama never let us fully use it on Mount Myoboku. I have to say, that is everything I thought it would be, said Gamakichi before turning his head to the large bird in the sky. Seems he managed to summon him though. At least we got the dog. I'm sure that thing would have annoyed us. Naruto also looked up to see Nagato atop his bird with all of his paths and Konan with him. Of course he can summon too, why'd I think it'd be that easy, said Naruto as he then noticed the path he killed standing. The others who looked hurt were fully healed as well. Wait a minute, what's going on? Nagato didn't allow Naruto the chance to figure it out as his 6 paths came charging after the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and his large toad. Konoha, Hokage's tower. Shisu, are you okay? You've stared at that mission report for almost 30 minutes. Yes, I'm fine, just worried is all, said Tsunade as Sakura nodded her head in understanding. It'll be fine Tsunade-sama, said Sakura with a small smile. None of that worrying gets you anywhere according to Naruto. He'll be back. All three of them. Tsunade nodded at Sakura just as Shizune walked in the room. Yes, but you know what happens if they do all come back, right? Said Shizune, causing Sakura to smile and Tsunade's eyes to widen again in worry. Little black dress. Tsunade could see Jiraiya's lecherous eyes on her as she shivered slightly. Why did I have to make that bet? Thought Tsunade before turning back to the paperwork. The root Anbu are being integrated well, kinda. Speaking of root, I wonder what Sasuke is doing. Probably nothing important. Underground, root base. 71 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds, said Itachi standing in his Tsukiyomi with Sasuke. Itachi watched on as he made Sasuke relive the night of the massacre. Only this time, through Itachi's viewpoint. It seems your eyes aren't strong enough to stop this genjutsu. Sasuke could only agree as his body moved to its own accord and continued to cut down Uchihas left and right. Itachi watched Sasuke slay all the Uchihas and could see a tear forming in his eye. Itachi's eyes widened seeing it was a tear of blood. As if the entire world was made of glass, a large split broke it in half. Then another split followed by another and another. That continued to happen over and over until the world crumbled and they were brought back to reality. In reality, Itachi still had a hand to Sasuke's neck while his other gripped Sasuke's fist. The only difference, Sasuke's left eye spun fast before coming to a stop. Pain hit Sasuke hard as he felt Itachi push him away before backing up. Itachi clutched his eye as the pain hit him as well. You broke it, said Itachi still standing with a hand over his eye as he looked at Sasuke still on one knee with a hand over his eye. You broke my Tsukiyomi. Sasuke shakily stood up as he looked at his elder brother. How's your eyesight, Itachi? Itachi just stared out at Sasuke as his vision only allowed a blurred, shadowed version of his little brother. You can barely see, right? Itachi never answered Sasuke as he moved his hand down and looked at Sasuke. I know yours aren't as bad as they should be, said Itachi as he added. You have Naruto-kun's cells in you. Sasuke nodded his head as he touched the patch on his shoulder. Yes, it definitely helps. But, it's not a permanent fix. Luckily, by the end of this battle, I'll have the permanent fix. You can't compete with me as you are now. Itachi gave Sasuke a daunting look as if saying how do you figure? Sasuke just smiled. Because I have more chakra than you. And my eyes can use more jutsus than yours. And if that wasn't enough, I'm already fighting a dead man. If I just stall, your sickness will kill you anyway. Danzo, you knew more about me than you let on, thought Itachi realizing how Sasuke received information on him. Sasuke then watched Itachi unzip his Akatsuki cloak before tossing it to the side. A reddish-orange chakra began to bask Itachi before he looked out at Sasuke. If you're so sure, then I may as well show you my trump card now. He's still fighting, thought Sasuke seeing his brother's Susanoo. A purple cloak began to surround Sasuke as he activated his own Susanoo. This is just a formality at this point. Sasuke's Susanoo formed a bow and shield. Itachi's manifested a sword and shield. A special sword and shield that Sasuke recognized. That's the sword of Totsuka, and the Yata mirror. Orochimaru had been searching for them for so long and you had them both, said Sasuke trembling as Itachi nodded. Sasuke fired an arrow at Itachi only for the Yata mirror to deflect it into the wall. No, I won't lose. I can't lose. This fight is over, said Itachi as his Susanoo began making its way towards Sasuke, blocking Sasuke's Susanoo strikes with ease. Your eyes are mine. My illness can be healed. Sasuke rapidly fired several more arrows but just like before, Itachi's Susanoo blocked them all with the Yata mirror. It's impossible to get past that spirit item, it's the perfect defense. And that sword seals anything it pierces, thought Sasuke as he felt his body racked with pain from the fast use of those arrows. This is not looking good. I thought he would want to die. Itachi's Susanoo met Sasuke's in a clash as the two ethereal beings roared at one another. A power struggle ensued before Itachi's Susanoo simply stabbed through Sasuke's Susanoo's arm. No, 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 no. thought Sasuke as he felt his chakra leave him and get sucked into the jar that held the Totsuka sword. It just sealed the chakra used to form my Susanoo. Was Ka-chan wrong about Itachi? Tears of blood were flowing down both brothers' eyes as they stared at each other. Sasuke could feel the pain inside of him as he struggled to look up into his brother's eyes. How do you keep going? Said Sasuke before adding, I have Naruto's cells and I can barely move. I thought you wanted to die. Itachi just smiled at Sasuke before moving his hand to Sasuke's face. It seems you were wrong, little brother, said Itachi as the moments with his brother flashed through Sasuke's mind. Forgive me Sasuke, this is the last time. A megacore, tallest tower. Oh, it seems Nagato isn't used to his new legs, said Zetsu as he looked out at the fight between him and Naruto. His fighting is not as crisp as it used to be. Looking at the fight as well, the masked man sat right next to Zetsu. Maybe so, but that'll be good practice for him. And show him firsthand that he isn't ready to face the Kyuubi Jinchuriki as he is. True, the Jinchuriki hasn't even accessed his Bijuu's power yet, said Zetsu before adding. But Nagato does have his paths all together now and it should be interesting to see what happens. The other half of Zetsu decided to offer his own opinion. That is true, but as Toby said, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki has yet to show his full power. A power we really don't know the full extent of. I have a way we could find out though. Zetsu perked up hearing the masked man. Keep watching Zetsu, I shall spark the Kyuubi Jinchuriki here soon and we'll see his full power. Or Nagato will simply capture him if his mind can't handle what I have to show him. The masked man disappeared in a vortex as Zetsu kept his eyes peeled on the fight. This will be entertaining. The white half of Zetsu could only agree with its counterpart. With Jiraiya and Yugito, they were summoned. Questioned Yugito as she followed behind Jiraiya in her Jinchuriki cloak. Jiraiya sat in his Toad Sage mode with the two elders on each shoulder as he turned his head to the Nibi Jinchuriki. It's just a guess. I'm sure that they all went to Naruto because we were kicking their asses, said Jiraiya as he turned his head back. But didn't it seem too easy? There's no time to worry about that Jiraiya-chan, said Fugaku, the elder Toad Sage. We need to find Naruto-chan if he is facing more. We were fighting when the flare went up in the air and Yugito spotted us when she was running toward him. The boy could be in serious trouble. Maybe captured. No, that wouldn't make sense, replied Yugito as Jiraiya elaborated. Exactly, Naruto has to go last, said Jiraiya as he added. He is the Kyuubi and from what Gaara said, Shukaku was sealed in a statue. Meaning, the Kyuubi's weight would most likely destroy it if it were sealed in before all the others. A theory Naruto came up with. That may be true, but then again, if he already has 6 of them, would it not be okay to seal the Kyuubi? Maybe the statue won't crack with those other 6 in there, said Shima this time getting Jiraiya to contemplate it. You could be right, it's just Naruto's theory and not a proven fact. But, we don't want to find out, said Jiraiya as he finally saw the lake. Jumping out on top of it, Jiraiya noticed a string of explosions occur. That must be where my apprentice is. Let's get there. Jiraiya then paused for a second as he looked behind him to not see Yugito. Where's Yugito? Questioned Jiraiya before seeing the Nibi Jinchuriki come jumping on the lake beside him outside of her cloak. Kids this way. Right, felt like getting rid of that disguise, replied Yugito as she followed behind the Toad Sage. With Naruto came jumping out of the smoke caused by several explosions as he was missing the right sleeve of his shirt and his right pants leg was singed up to his shin. Blood covered several parts of his body and he had a bruise across his right cheek as he looked at the smoke cloud in front of him. Okay, this is way tougher now, thought Naruto as the smoke cleared and Nagato's 6 paths stared at him. The bald one was placing his forearm back into his elbow as if he was a robot. That guy is like a machine. The one with spiky hair can use that invisible force jutsu. The girl can summon anything it seems. The guy with long hair hasn't shown much but weak taijutsu skills. The fat guy with the ponytail can absorb chakra. The last guy, I have no clue. Above Naruto and the 6 paths, Nagato continued to fly above them on that bird with Conan standing next to him. And he can do what each of them can. The woman, I have no clue also. Naruto, it seems as if his movements are growing more and more polished as the fight goes on. I told you not to tread lightly. You're right, sorry about that. thought Naruto in reply as he let his Jinchuriki cloak form. The chakra formed around Naruto as his seal became visible along his body. Let's stop playing around, shall we? I wasn't playing around from the get-go. Your toad friend was and got beat up so bad he had to dispel back home, replied Kurama as he added. You need to find Jiraiya and Yugito or start using better jutsu if you plan on beating this guy. This guy could probably kill you if it weren't for your being a Jinchuriki and it risked killing me as well. Yeah, that's not really helping me here. I need encouragement. I encourage you to not get us killed. Naruto merely laughed at his Bayu. Naruto then noticed Nagato's paths rush out at him again. Ducking a kick from the long-haired one, Naruto vanished with pure speed to appear behind the old one with spiky hair who stayed back. Obviously he's the most important. He never engages in the fight, thought Naruto before getting blasted by another Shinra Tensei from Nagato's Deva path. As Naruto rolled from the jutsu, he landed perfectly in a full Nelson from Nagato's Preta path. Thinking he was going to easily overpower the path was a grave mistake by the Jinchuriki. Wait, what? I can't move. I told you to stop playing around. Naruto's cloak began to disappear as Nagato's Preta path easily began to absorb his chakra. I didn't know he could absorb Bayu chakra too. Thought Naruto in a panic, feeling an immense drain on his chakra. That is enough, Kyuubi. This fight is over, said Nagato above them as he watched the Kyuubi Jinchuriki slowly begin to lose consciousness. Naruto! Naruto! Shouted Kurama in Naruto's mind, but to no avail as the kid couldn't move. Nagato gave a small grin to himself before his eyes widened when the absorption stopped. That's enough of that, said Jiraiya, now standing behind the Preta path. Jiraiya came up from behind the path underwater and unseen by all of them before placing a kunai in the back of the path's head. Thought I already killed that one. The path fell lifelessly to the floor as Naruto's eyes fluttered before he opened them fully. Perfect timing, sensei, said Naruto as he stood up and noticed Yugito land beside them. I thought I was done. Sure looked like it. Guess you realize you should have taken him more seriously, said Jiraiya as Naruto frowned hearing Kurama say, I told you so, repeatedly in his head. Jiraiya summoned a small toad that swallowed the path hole before dispelling. That'll keep him away for good. Jiraiya-sensei, said Nagato as his remaining 5 paths all grouped to look at them. Jiraiya and Naruto looked at the redhead on the bird as Jiraiya's earlier suspicions were confirmed. Nagato, seems you really are the leader of this group, said Jiraiya before adding. Why did it come to this? I thought I taught you all better than this. Nagato closed his eyes before answering. Pain caused this, Jiraiya-sensei. And until you feel the same pain I did, you'll never understand. What pain could that possibly be? Questioned Jiraiya before hearing a voice come from behind him and Naruto. A voice that caused Naruto's blood to run cold. This pain. The pain of losing a loved one, said the masked man as he stood behind Yugito with a kunai to her back and his arm around her neck. Naruto turned around as his eyes widened seeing Yugito in that position. You won't kill her, you'd lose the Bayu, said Naruto as even with that in mind, Naruto still didn't feel any more comfortable. Naruto began to build up his chakra so he could shunshin to save Yugito. You're right, but the Bayu will reform. And I will get it then. However, watching her die in front of you will be so worth the wait. Time seemed to freeze as Yugito looked Naruto dead in the eye and mouthed I love you. Naruto watched the kunai slide perfectly into Yugito's back, killing her instantly. Naruto felt Yugito's chakra signature disappear as the masked man let her go, causing her to fall forward. Naruto appeared in a shunshin and caught the blonde-haired girl. Now you know pain, said Nagato as the masked man vanished in a vortex. Naruto fell to his knees and held the lifeless Yugito in his arms. Jiraiya simply stood still in shock as he watched Naruto's face go through several emotions. Naruto, said Jiraiya after a few seconds to see him sitting there with tears streaming down his face. Jiraiya then noticed Nagato's paths moving toward him as he turned to face them. This isn't good. Jiraiya-chan, we need to get out of here, said Fugaku getting a nod from the white-haired man. We can't fight them while also trying to protect Naruto-chan. It was already tough when we had Yugito helping us. You're right, but we have to do something and I'm certain we can't just leave. He'd catch us. It's over, Jiraiya-sensei. Just accept death. It will come easier that way, replied Nagato as Conan remained inwardly shocked about what just happened. He killed her. He killed the Jinchuriki. And Nagato let it happen, thought Conan looking at Naruto. She actually felt bad seeing his current state. All to get the Kyuubi Jinchuriki to feel pain. Was this the plan all along? Conan looked at Nagato, who continued to move his paths toward the three foreign shinobi. Conan's attention then shifted back to Naruto as she felt a chakra spike. Nagato's 6 paths stopped their advance at the chakra spike as well. Nagato's eyes widened along with Jiraiya's as they felt Naruto let loose an abundance of chakra. Jiraiya slowly turned around as he looked at his apprentice. He was glowing orange with Kurama's chakra and could see the red markings of his Sage Mode on his face. Sage Mode combined with the Kyuubi's chakra. I didn't even know that was possible, thought Jiraiya as the lake was rippling at Naruto's potent chakra. Naruto, are you really about to use that? Asked Kurama, feeling Naruto use as much of his chakra as possible. Kurama didn't receive an answer as Naruto continued to stare at Yugito with tears in his face. This boy, he's reached Hashirama's level of power in this state. Sage Mode and my chakra, what a combination. This is the power of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Thought Nagato, seeing and feeling the power of Naruto's chakra. Nagato's eyes widened as he barely heard Naruto call out a jutsu name. Senpo, Mokuton, Senbi, Sage Art, Wood Style, Thousand Tails, whispered Naruto as the ground quaked and a roar was heard from underneath the lake. Earlier, a Megakure. No, that wouldn't make sense, replied Yugito as Jiraiya nodded. Just as Jiraiya began to speak, Yugito heard a voice in her head. Kitten, look out, shouted the Nibi in Yugito's head. Yugito stopped immediately from an invisible force. Yugito stopped as if a rope grabbed her, and before she could alert Jiraiya, a pure white hand covered her mouth. Yugito was then dragged backward and thrown toward a building in the opposite direction of where Jiraiya was heading. Despite the speed of the toss, Yugito managed to flip around and land gracefully on the wall before looking out at her assailants. It's a chameleon with weird-looking eyes. It used its tongue to stop me, said Yugito looking at the animal that stopped her. That's the Rinnegan. The dojutsu of the Sage of 6 Paths. Oh, that's bad, huh? Yugito felt the Nibi nod as she prepped for a fight. The person standing next to the chameleon was a white man slowly turning his appearance into her. An absolutely perfect copy of her down to perfect details. What's a henge transformation going to do? Hi, Naruto-kun. Sorry for dying in front of you, said the copy before she turned and sprinted to where Jiraiya left. Yugito frowned before watching the chameleon dispel in a puff of smoke. What just happened? I don't know, but it's not like I'm going to let him just take my place like that, thought Yugito before noticing a vortex appear in front of her and out stepped the masked man. It's this guy again. Hello, Nibi. You're not going to let me stop him, are you? Questioned Yugito as the masked man nodded his head. He'll never get past Jiraiya-sensei. A clone jutsu doesn't make up for a person's chakra signature. That is where you're wrong. That clone jutsu is special. He's your exact copy, said the masked man as Yugito's eyes widened. And when I kill him in front of Naruto, your boyfriend will react in one of 2 ways. He'll crumble and become useless. Or he'll destroy everything in his path. Each of which I'm fine with as they'll serve a purpose. He crumbles, we'll capture him. He destroys everything, he'll show me his strengths so I can exploit them in the future. A win-win situation. So you just stay put. Naruto-kun, thought Yugito as she saw the masked man put up a barrier to keep her from trying to spike her chakra and alert him. It also served the purpose of not allowing her to leave as she realized it was a powerful barrier. I have to find a way to get to Naruto-kun before something bad happens. With Naruto present, Senpo, Mokuton, Senbi, Sage Art, Wood Style, Thousand Tails, whispered Naruto as he clutched to the lifeless Yugito in his arms. The ground trembled as a thunderous roar was heard from underneath the water. Jiraiya, the toad sages on Jiraiya's shoulders, Nagato and Conan all bore witness to a massive wooden fox emerge from the lake below. Conan stared with wide eyes as she saw how massive the wooden fox was. More than half the size of her entire village. Is this the power of a god? Thought Conan, baffled at the fox's size and the power it emanated. We can't compete with something like that. There's no way. Conan looked over at Nagato to see him unyielding in the face of the massive fox. Conan became surprised that Nagato continued with a fearless face, as no matter who you were, that fox was definitely imposing. Nagato may have seemed calm on the outside, but internally he felt the same as Conan. The fox stood at full height with Naruto sitting atop its head holding Yugito and Jiraiya standing there amazed at its size. This is something like a fairy tale, thought Jiraiya as he looked down at the fox to see all the tails swishing. Are there really 1,000 tails? Maybe those stories Sensei used to tell about what Hashirama-sama could do were true. This is inhuman. Sensei, what's up, kid? Is this real? Asked Naruto as Jiraiya empathized with the young man. He'd seen Tsunade go through the same basically. This is a genjutsu. There's no way, right? There's no way, there's no way. The Kyuubi's influence is increasing. I know he has full control, but I can't help but subconsciously want to run for my life. The killing intent he's producing has me sweating, thought Jiraiya before seeing Naruto stand with Yugito in his arms and look at Nagato. I'm going to kill you, said Naruto as the wooden fox let out another thunderous roar that created a powerful shock wave. A wave formed from the power behind the roar as it made its way to the Rinnegan wielder. Naruto watched as Nagato and his paths defended against the mighty wave. While this happened, Kurama had a few thoughts. Something felt off about Yugito before she died, thought Kurama knowing what he felt. However, he didn't want to tell Naruto this. Part of Kurama wanted to see just how strong his Jinchuriki was. The brat is finally showing it all. I've never seen him go all out, he never had the reason to. The wave died down due to Nagato's paths as they all looked up at Naruto on the fox. Naruto placed down Yugito as he looked at Yugito one last time before vanishing in a high-speed shunshin. Naruto landed just behind the 5 remaining paths who all jolted at the speed he moved at. I almost thought he was Minato for a second, thought Jiraiya impressed at the speed. Shinra Tensei, said the Deva path pointing a hand at Naruto. The force ripped through the air at the Kyuubi Jinchuriki as the Deva path looked to see Naruto gone. There was a Rasengan settled in the middle of his stomach though. Raisen Senko Cho Rinbu Kosen Shiki, spiraling flash super round dance howl participate formula, said Naruto as 5 Rasengans were on the bodies of the paths. All of them were blown toward Naruto's massive wooden fox. The fox noticed the paths approach and timed their arrivals perfectly. A tail skewered each one of them before wood clones appeared to immobilize them. Conan grew more fearful as Naruto turned to her and Nagato. He annihilated the remaining paths as if they were nothing, thought Conan as she noticed Nagato leap off the bird and land atop the water facing Naruto. You aren't serious, Nagato. This is the second time Yahiko was taken from me, thought Nagato as he felt more power due to the lost connection between his paths. Let's see how you do now, Kyuubi. My power is concentrated. Naruto noticed Nagato activate a Jinchuriki cloak. Likely the chakra his Preta path absorbed from before. The two then met in a clash of orange versus red, Naruto clutching Nagato's fist and Nagato holding Naruto's other wrist. Asura path, said Nagato as an arm grew from his neck and shifted into that of a cannon. Energy began to form in front of it as it locked on Naruto's head. Just before the beam fired off, Naruto let loose a roar. Nagato flew back in ragdoll fashion from the powerful shockwave created. Naruto appeared and planted a kick into Nagato's sternum that sent him straight to his back on the water. Just because you have my chakra doesn't mean you can compete against the real thing, said Naruto as Nagato felt the effects of the kick to his chest. I wonder if you know the pain you caused me just now. Of course. Shut the up. I didn't ask you to say anything, said Naruto as he placed his hands in the snake seal. Naruto channeled chakra as his fox's eyes glowed before it let out another roar. A wood clone spawned to life out the senbi as the clone looked over at Yugito. I am going to show you the true definition of pain. Naruto's clone grabbed Yugito and jumped down off the fox with Jiraiya as the fox roared once again and jumped high in the air. Nagato noticed the trajectory of the jump and realized it was heading for his village. Nagato scrambled up and began a sprint toward Omegakure in an attempt at stopping the fox, but it was for naught. Naruto appeared in front of him and belted him with a fast punch that impeded him. Nagato clutched his chest again as he looked up helplessly as the fox landed just outside his village and began laying waste to it from the outskirts. People's screams rang out at the fox's appearance and explosions were heard over and over again. Nagato just stared wide-eyed at the fox beginning its attack on his village. I believe it was you who said pain caused this, and until you feel the same pain I did, you'll never know the feeling. If that's the case and you want to share everybody's pain, then why not feel the pain Konoha did when their village was almost destroyed by the Kyuubi? Shinra Tensei, said Nagato as he blew Naruto away with the force of his jutsu. Nagato then made another attempt to get to his village, but the distance was too much and Naruto was already on him. Nagato needed to focus on the Jinchuriki or risk being blindsided and hit again. Nagato's punches and kicks weren't landing on the faster Naruto, but the time limit for another Shinra Tensei was up and he pointed a hand. 3, 4, and 5, thought Naruto, getting the timing down. Shinra Tensei, said Nagato, only to feel Naruto grab his wrist. Naruto smiled as he was hit again with the same invisible force but dragged Nagato with him. Naruto flipped through the air from the force of the jutsu, flipping Nagato with him, as a devious smile crossed his whisked face. Naruto slung the Rinnegan user into the water below as he fell directly above him with a knee aimed at his head. Nagato hit the water hard but managed to roll out of the way as Naruto went careening into the lake below. Nagato made another attempt at going to his village but felt the lake rumble again. Nagato watched as a forest sprang up immediately around him, but at the tops of the trees were large orange flowers. Nagato watched the flowers bloom as an immense amount of pollen came fluttering down. The pollen has a sleep-inducing effect, thought Nagato, covering his mouth and nose before waiting a few more seconds. Nagato placed both hands out as he let loose another Shinra Tensei. Nagato jumped out of the forest to see Naruto standing in between him and his village still. Only this time, Naruto had a captured Conan in his arms. No, not Conan. I have 5 seconds to show you the same pain I felt when Yugito died, said Naruto with a tri-pronged kunai placed at Conan's neck. Conan normally would have been able to turn to paper and avoid the jutsu, but the chakra-suppressing wood entangled around the rest of her body stopped that. Watching her die in front of you will be worth it. Nagato watched as Naruto moved his kunai back before moving his arm forward. "No!" shouted Nagato as Naruto's kunai made its way to Conan's neck. Konoha, root base. Darkness met him as he awoke with his eyes covered by bandages. He could feel his heart beating, so he knew he wasn't dead. Especially considering he could feel a presence to his right. There was one right next to him also as he spoke with a tired voice. "Is this heaven or hell?" questioned the man before he realized he was lying on his back. The man tried to get up, but a gentle hand landed on his chest and held him firm. "Please don't move nor attempt to open your eyes," said a soft voice. "I healed you, but you won't feel 100% for a few days." "I'm alive," a different voice answered him this time. "Yes, you are Nissan." It was Sasuke. The man was confused hearing his little brother's voice. Knowing Itachi was confused, Sasuke spoke again. "Sakura, if you could explain. Your sickness, I healed it, Itachi-san. Sasuke-kun gave me the notes on it and I solved it from there. You were practically terminally ill since 13 and the fact you lived long enough till this point is nothing short of amazing," said Sakura as she added. "And your eyes may hurt because I exchanged them with another set." Sasuke, thought Itachi before realizing what Sakura said at the end. "Exchanged my eyes. With whose?" "The ones that belong to the person who awakened your Mangekyo. Shisui. Your body accepted them easily." "Shisui's eyes? Then, you have my eyes." "Yes, I can feel the power behind them and it's exhilarating," said Sasuke before getting serious. "I don't truly know how you feel now. But I know the truth of the massacre. And I can reason with how hard it may be to live with something like that." Itachi was all ears listening to his little brother. "So, you have 2 choices, Nissan. If you want to continue living, I have a way to allow you back into Konoha's ranks. If not, Sakura Cannon will kill you painlessly with a lethal injection. It's your choice." Itachi laid still for several minutes pondering the thought as flashes of his life went through his mind. Eventually, Itachi allowed a small smile. "What do you have in mind?" questioned Itachi as Sasuke smiled. Itachi then heard another voice in the room he didn't realize was there. "Welcome back, Uchiha Itachi," said Konoha's Hokage, Senju Tsunade. Itachi's eyes would have opened in shock if not for the bandages wrapped around his face keeping them shut. Sakura noticed Tsunade's look and understood as she began to make her way out of the room. Tsunade-sama, thank you. Tsunade smiled as she walked out of the room with a few more words before fully departing. Heal up fast now. The world continues to spin and there are still bad guys to kill, said Tsunade as she walked out of the room after Sakura to allow the two brothers time alone in the comfort of the small room located hundreds of feet below Konoha. Omegacore, earlier with Jiraiya. Standing atop the massive fox, Jiraiya watched his student place Yugito down and vanish in a high-speed shunshin. Naruto, said Jiraiya as he watched his student lay waste to all of Nagato's paths in the span of a second after landing. Even Fukasaku grew shocked at Naruto's ability. When did Naruto-chan get so strong? The chakra he's emanating. This fox he created. And he's still able to fight with such vigor. Jiraiya-chan, did you know he was this strong? I had an idea beforehand, kind of. Then again, not really. I've never seen his full might before. The boy did train heavily using clones, but I didn't think it would result in this, said Shima as the three toad sages noticed a wood clone grow out of the fox right next to them. The wood clone grabbed Yugito as he turned to Jiraiya. We need to get off this fox, said the clone as he jumped off the fox, followed by Jiraiya. As they were falling, Jiraiya noticed the fox roar and jumped toward Omegacore. He's going to destroy an entire village, said Jiraiya as he looked at his apprentice. His personality really is becoming more like the Kyuubi. Fukasaku noticed Naruto's intent and hearing Jiraiya, he posed a question. His personality is becoming that of the Kyuubi. Seeing Jiraiya nod, Fukasaku realized the reason. He unlocked his seal. The Naruto clone nodded his head. And I know boss's thoughts. He will destroy that village given what he was thinking just then. Normally he wouldn't, but with Kurama and him sinking, it gave him some of Kurama's maliciousness. Which is a good thing, but innocent lives will be lost, said Jiraiya as he watched the fox begin its assault on the village. As the fox began, Jiraiya noticed Naruto stopping Nagato from advancing and attempting to protect his village with tall, flowering trees. The Toad Sages and Naruto's clone then watched as Naruto easily grabbed Konan as she became distracted with looking at her village and watching Nagato, trying to figure out which one she should protect. He's going to kill her in front of Nagato. Don't do it, Naruto-chan, said Shima even though she knew the girl was Akatsuki. She didn't want to watch Naruto kill someone solely off of revenge and with evil intent. Jiraiya and Fugaku felt the same but knew they couldn't and wouldn't stop him. Jiraiya's eyes then perked up as he felt a familiar chakra spike come from Omegacore. Yugito's alive. With Naruto. NOOO, shouted Nagato as Naruto's kunai headed for Konan's neck. Naruto's kunai pressed into Konan's neck but didn't draw blood as he stopped just before. Nagato looked at Naruto shocked to see him not kill her. Naruto removed his kunai as he shook his head. This isn't me. My sensei taught me better, said Naruto lowly as he put his kunai away. You didn't do it? Questioned Nagato as Naruto looked at him. Why? Because Naruto stopped when he felt a chakra spike. His heart nearly jumped out of his chest realizing who it was. Yugi-chan. Naruto turned to Omegacore as Nagato moved to free Konan. Naruto's senbi stopped its assault on Am as Naruto's wood clone dispelled, dropping the other Yugito. The original Naruto vanished in a shunshin as his fox jumped back out to the lake, ending the attack on Omegacore. Yugito stood still having flared her chakra moments earlier before she took off her disguise. The barrier the masked man created was crushed by the swing of one of Naruto's senbi's tails and Yugito took immediate advantage of that. The masked man noticed the barrier dispel and upon Yugito flaring her chakra, he left her realizing the Kyuubi Jinchuriki would immediately head this way. He was proven right as seconds later, Naruto appeared in a shunshin still accessing his Sage Jinchuriki mode. Naruto stared at Yugito as his heart stopped aching from the events that happened earlier. Please tell me this is real, said Naruto as he walked slowly to the blonde girl. Please tell me this is real. Say something, please. Naruto stopped in front of Yugito as she could feel Naruto's emotions fluctuating wildly. Yugito wrapped her arms around his neck as she whispered in his ear. Yes, Naruto-kun. This is really me, said Yugito as she felt Naruto slowly moving his arms around her to hug her back. The other me was a clone. Some kind of special clone that guy made somehow. I saw your fox. Are you okay? No, I wasn't. Yugito felt a tear land on her shoulder as she moved her head back to look at Naruto's face. Narutoist Yugito, full of emotions, as he moved his head back and another tear of joy fell from his eye. I thought I lost you. I thought they killed you. I'm here, Foxy-kun, said Yugito with a smile when Naruto laughed at the nickname. Yugitoist him in return and wiped his face clear. I'm sorry you saw something like that. The two then looked up and noticed hundreds of shinobi staring at them. Naruto could feel the emotions of the ninjas as Naruto understood their feelings. Naruto just stared as one of them pointed his sword at the two Jinchuriki. You dare come to Omegakure and attempt to destroy it, shouted the man as his sword trembled. His sword trembled not because of how angry he was, but due to how scared he was at what he saw just now from the fox assaulting part of his village. Naruto looked the man in the eye as he nodded his head. I am sorry for the destruction I caused your village, said Naruto as the man looked shocked at the apology. But started the man only to hear a voice cut him off. Stop, said Nagato as all the shinobi looked over along with Naruto and Yugito. All of Omegakure's residents grew wide-eyed at the man as they dropped their weapons and bowed. Our fight is over. No harm will come to the two of them. Pain-sama, said the man before feeling Nagato appear before him and raise his head. Please stand. My name is Nagato, said Nagato as the man nodded his head. Nagato walked over the Kyuubi Jinchuriki with Konan following behind him. Nagato stood before Naruto as his Rinnegan met Naruto's sage Kyuubi eyes. How do you do it? Naruto grabbed Yugito's hand a little tighter before feeling Yugito give him a reassuring squeeze in return. How do I do what exactly? Questioned Naruto as Nagato elaborated. She died in front of you. It may not have been her, but there's no way you knew that before she spiked her chakra. Especially considering your actions that followed, said Nagato before adding. So how did you not kill Konan? Or even allow your fox to fully decimate my village? You could have made it land in the heart of my village, but instead, it only attacked the remote area that Hanzo lived in that no one comes close to. There were no deaths, barely any injuries. How do you not succumb to your pain and want revenge on those who caused it? I almost didn't. I wanted nothing more than to kill you, Konan, and your entire village. But what would that solve? Questioned Naruto before exhaling a breath. Jiraiya-sensei taught me that this world is full of hate and that hate only causes more hate. It's a never-ending cycle. If I kill you, who's to say one of your ninjas or some ninja that followed wouldn't come and attack me and my village, taking away more of my loved ones? My goal is to stop the cycle and bring the world to true peace. And I'd be going directly against my goal if I did exactly what I wanted. How can you say that? How do you know your goal won't change? Or you won't fail? Questioned Nagato as Naruto channeled his chakra and the orange fox on his exposed right arm glowed a bright orange. A puff of smoke occurred as a book dropped out that Naruto caught. This world is cursed and because of that, peace is impossible. Then, I will break that curse. If there is such a thing as peace, I will attain it. I promise, said Naruto getting Nagato's eyes to go wide. You've proven to me that I won't change. Even after you killed the girl of my dreams, I still didn't succumb to the pain and change. Maybe it's because of this book. My name, Naruto, does come from the main character's name. The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi written by Jiraiya, the Toad Sage. I may not know exactly how to find that piece, said Naruto placing the book back into his seal. But I know that I've tried and will continue trying. And if in the end, my method doesn't work, then I'll move on to the next. And continue until I find it. I won't give up. I never give up. That's my ninja way. Nagato allowed a small smile to grace his face as he looked at the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Naruto, come with me. We have many things to discuss, said Nagato as he turned slightly with Konan following his movements. Naruto looked at Yugito, who only nodded her head before he looked out to see Jiraiya smiling at him. Naruto saw Jiraiya mouth the words, "Way to go Gaki," as he smiled heavily at his sensei. Naruto then walked behind the redhead leader of Omegakure with Yugito holding his hand. He planned to never let it go. At least for a few hours. The ninjas that gathered around the Jinchuriki all paused at that as they looked at each other. The just happened. Questioned one of them as several around him agreed. I mean, yeah, he didn't kill any of us but he attacked our village. An elder ninja nodded his head but disagreed. You're right, he did attack us but then again, he didn't kill anyone. Frankly, he only destroyed the part of the village no one ever goes to. That huge plot of land that once belonged to Hanzo turned ruins, said the elder ninja as several other conversations began to ring out around him. All of them ended when the ninja pointed out to the lake. Plus, if we were to fight him, that thing would come back. A thunderous roar sounded out over the lake from the senbi as many of the ninjas stopped their chattering and just nodded their heads. You're right. Let's just go back to drinking and let Nagato-sama handle it. 3 days later, Konoha main gate. Tsunade-sama, they're coming back, said Sakura watching as her sensei walked back and forth around the main gate as she bit nervously at her fingernail. Sensei. Tsunade stopped moving as she looked at Sakura. I'm sorry Sakura, they were supposed to be back by now. Or at least made contact with me to let me know they are alive, said Tsunade as Sakura could understand. Naruto and Yugito are both going to Kumogakure afterward, said Sakura before adding. Only Jiraiya will officially come back here and when he does, I'm sure you'll be the first one he contacts. Tsunade gave a small smile. Thanks, Sakura, said Tsunade before adding. But still, they're late and I can't help but feel this way. Sakura just nodded her head but before she could speak, an enormous puff of smoke occurred directly in front of them. This is where Naruto got that from, thought Sakura as from that cloud of smoke, Jiraiya appeared standing atop a toad. That is just, there's no reason for any of that. From the sacred lands of the tea, started Jiraiya only to be gripped into a bone-crushing hug from Tsunade, appearing in front of him on his toad. Jiraiya just smiled as Tsunade let him go and smiled at the much taller man. I missed you too, Tsunade-hime. What took you all so long? I thought you all would be done there sooner. Did you all run into trouble? Was Naruto or Yugito hurt? Are you hurt? Jiraiya picked up a hand to stop Tsunade. We are all fine, Hime. Yugito and the kid headed to Kumogakure for her reprieve, said Jiraiya picking up a photo of the two smiling and looking healthy just 1 day prior. Jiraiya then bit his thumb. And it took us so long because of this. In a puff of smoke, a toad appeared as it opened its mouth wide and a scroll came rising out of it. Jiraiya grabbed the scroll before the toad dispelled himself and Jiraiya handed the scroll to Tsunade. Tsunade opened the large scroll as after a few minutes of reading, Tsunade gasped sharply. Omegakure, they want to join our alliance? Questioned Tsunade as Jiraiya simply nodded his head. Tsunade then noticed the several shinobi listed on the scroll as she pointed at one of them. Akatsuki members, it has the skills of each of them on here. I'm assuming Naruto copied this info and is going to give it to the rest of the alliance. Jiraiya just nodded his head. Yeah, the kid did it all. And I can't wait to tell you how, said Jiraiya with a grin as Tsunade just looked at him with narrow eyes. Okay, get to telling then. What's stopping you? Questioned Tsunade as she noticed Jiraiya's grin turn lecherous. I'll be glad to. Tonight, on our date, said Jiraiya as Tsunade's eyes widened. Little black dress. Tsunade just blew out a sigh before accepting her fate. One date, said Tsunade as Jiraiya just nodded and said he'd pick up the busty cage at 7 sharp. Sakura just smiled before Tsunade remembered her she had something to take care of today, causing her to leave the main gate to attend to it. Tsunade just headed to her office to gather a few items before heading to where Sakura went. Under Konoha, root base. Still laying down on the small beds in the remote room, Sasuke laid in his own bed next to Itachi in his bed as they waited. The two brothers then heard the door to their room open as they felt one person enter the room. It's time. Who's first? Sasuke just sat up in his bed as he smiled slyly. Untangling the bandage around the back of his head, the entirety of the bandages fell from his head as he sat with his eyes closed. Opening his eyes, Sasuke gasped at the new design. They're beautiful, said Sakura as Sasuke moved to the mirror in the room. Standing in front of it, Sasuke looked at his eyes. Sasuke's eye didn't change much from his regular Mangekyo, the only difference was that Itachi's Mangekyo appeared in the middle of his, just straighter and no longer curved. Sasuke just smiled at the change as he could feel the power radiating off the eyes. I need to test these, said Sasuke as he noticed Itachi standing right behind him. Moving out of the way, Sasuke watched Itachi unravel his own bandages. Itachi opened his eyes to see his own eternal Mangekyo. Itachi's normal Mangekyo seemed to revolve as instead of just a tri-bladed shuriken, Itachi's eyes were now 8 lines, all arching out from the center of his eye. It looks like a Dharma wheel almost. Both of your eyes. They look beautiful. Itachi smiled as he brought his hand into a fist and flexed his muscles. I'm free of the illness. It really worked, said Itachi as he looked at Sasuke. You said you needed to test your eyes. I need to do the same and feel out my body. I feel healthy again. Let's do this. 10 minutes later, Sasuke laid flat on the ground with Itachi standing over him with a small smile on his face. Tsunade and Sakura stood just a ways away as they both had shocked faces. Uchiha Itachi is an animal, thought Tsunade having watched the spar just now between the two Uchiha brothers. How much did that illness affect him? And now that it's gone, how powerful is he? He's like Naruto in that aspect. He made it look effortless. Sasuke had the same idea as he was thoroughly handled by his elder brother just now. It wasn't even close, said Sasuke out of breath as he laid on the ground. I felt like I was 6 again. How strong are you? Itachi just continued to smile. Get stronger and you may find out, said Itachi before seeing Tsunade land on the ground in front of him. Itachi then noticed there were some items in Tsunade's hands. Is that? Yes, said Tsunade as she held an Anbu uniform in her hands and some doents. Uchiha Itachi. I, Senju Tsunade, pardon you of all crimes against the land of fire and Konohagakure as a whole. You are a free man and your wanted picture will be removed from every bingo book. Itachi stood stock still after hearing that bit of information. Having been on the run for so long and having to hide his face, he was finally free. Granted, he knew that people may still come after him and he still wouldn't be able to show his face in Konoha from his previous actions, but he was free. Even though freedom came with his death in the real world. And due to your circumstances, started Tsunade continuing with what Itachi already knew would happen. You've been drafted into Root as its first commander. Congratulations. Sasuke will guide you for the next couple of weeks while you get assimilated and used to the Root program. Remember, we'll want people to think you're dead and that Sasuke killed you. That's why he has your eyes to prove it. However, you may want or need to go to the mainland eventually and I have a way that you can. You're going to disguise me. How is that possible, Hokage-sama? Questioned Itachi before seeing Tsunade point to herself. A special henge that only I know. And is unbreakable unless you run out of chakra, said Tsunade as Itachi just smiled. Maybe I am blessed by Kami, thought Itachi as he got ready for the weeks ahead. Kumogakure, same time. I am blessed by Kami, thought Naruto as he stared perversely at his longtime girlfriend get dressed. Yugito knew Naruto was staring at her and was moving about it in a way that was unbelievably hot to the young man. Okay, that shimmy at the end is just taking it overboard. Yugito buckled her pants having shimmied to put them on as she turned to Naruto. Whatever do you mean? Questioned Yugito before smiling cheerfully at the flustered young man standing in her room. It was surprising that even though she'd been gone for nearly 2 months, her apartment still stayed clean and paid for. Likely her rakeages doing to make sure she still felt at home when coming back to Kumogakure. Yugito then watched Naruto fidget due to the tightness in his pants. Or, Foxy-kun, you liked what you saw, huh? Hey, the only thing I saw was you. And whoever said I liked you? A 1,000-tailed fox assault on a Megakure could attest to that fact, said Yugito smiling as Naruto just rolled his eyes. But don't worry, I'll take care of my sweet little Jinchuriki. For now, come on. We have to go or we'll be late. Who is this for again? Questioned Naruto holding up the present in his hands. Naruto rattled it around until Yugito popped him on the hand. Ouch. Don't be a baby. And it's for B-sama. It's his birthday and luckily, instead of sending that present as I planned, we came here and I can give it to him in person, said Yugito holding Naruto's hand after disciplining him. And we can't be late to the party or we'll be denied entrance. B is like that. I always hear about this guy. Kiribi, better known as Killer B. But I've never met the guy. Yugito perked up hearing this. You've really never met Kiribi-sama? Questioned Yugito as she walked hand in hand with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and led him seemingly off into the mountains that surrounded Kumogakure. Naruto just shook his head as Yugito couldn't believe it. Well, I guess you only come to see me usually or just to drop off a scroll. You'd never really get the chance to meet him. True. Is he as annoying as everyone says? Everyone's perspective is different. Some people adore him, like his students and much of Kumogakure who attend his rap concerts. Some people can't stand him, like me and the Reikage Dono. But you can't help but love the guy. He's amazing when you really get down to it. He'll grow on you, that's for sure. Well, I can't wait to meet this guy. How long is this walk, by the way? Questioned Naruto as Yugito held up 5 fingers. 5 miles. Why can't we just run there? We could, said Yugito as she then looked at Naruto. But I want to hear all about what happened in Omegakure. You still haven't told me and there'll be nothing better to do in the meantime. I might even take you behind one of these mountains and have my way with you if you do. Naruto grew tempted at that as he'd been opposed to having to retell one of the worst moments in his life. Yugito did have the right to know. And frankly, who didn't want Yugito to have her way with them? 5 miles away, Kumogakure. I'm Killer B, the best MC. My flow is hearty, time to start this party. Yeah, rapped a man with brown skin and a tattoo of bull horns on his face. He wore the standard outfit of a Kumo shinobi with a long scarf wrapped around his neck that hung all the way to the floor. On his back though, the man had 7 swords strapped to it and a pair of sunglasses hiding his eyes. B. The party doesn't start for another 2 hours, said the Hachibi in B's head. Maybe you should save your raps for then. Maybe you're right, but I can flow all night. Yeah, rhymed B in his head as he felt a few people appear outside his home. Seems some people are here. Birthday party about to appear. Yeah. Kirabi walked outside of his small cave as he looked out at the people standing there. Kirabi's demeanor shifted as he noticed that it was 4 people all donning cloaks that only one group wore. Akatsuki, said B as several of the members smiled. B recognized all of them as he looked. Standing before him were Hidden, Kakazu, Deidara, and Kisame. Hachibi, said the Iwabomber, Deidara, as he looked at the Jinchuriki. Kisame, you can handle him. Make it fast because once you start fighting, the whole of Kumo will be coming and we'll only be able to hold them back for so long. Kirabi then watched as the tall, blue-skinned member of Akatsuki grinned at him and placed that huge bandaged sword over his shoulder. Hoshigaki Kisame, a pleasure to meet you, said Kisame as he grinned and went running toward the man known as the perfect Jinchuriki. Omegakure, same time. Came the pained scream of Nagato as his body felt on fire, starting from his legs up. Nagato couldn't control his body anymore as he looked up to see the masked man holding a hand seal. What did you do to me? You think you could just betray me and not receive consequences? Questioned the man as he added. Not only did you not beat the Kyuubi, which I would have been okay with if he defeated you, but you allowed him to leave. Leave with information on all the members of Akatsuki. I'd have done this sooner if I didn't think he'd stop me. There's nothing you can do about it, said Nagato with a smile despite his circumstances. It's already been done. And even if I die here today, there'd be nothing you could do to stop Naruto. You can't beat him as you are. I know it and so do you. Even with your special jutsu, you'd have to touch him and in that instant, he'd kill you without hesitation. You've already lost. You're just prolonging the inevitable. That is where you're wrong, said the masked man as Nagato noticed Zetsu appear in the room as well. Nagato began to struggle against Toby but it was futile really. You think I wouldn't have safeguards if you ever betrayed me? Those cells that I used to reconstruct your legs were created out of Zetsu. Meaning, 20% of your body is of my creation, a creature I control. And due to it syncing with the rest of your body, I essentially control you as well. Nagato knew it was useless the moment he felt the stinging sensation. He knew this day would come but he didn't realize the masked man had such a leg up on him. Nagato laughed at his own pun. The 2 days Naruto stayed in Omegakure made the young man really grow on Nagato, even though the first quarter of that they were enemies. It seems I won't be able to see the true peace Naruto will bring about in the world, thought Nagato as he closed his eyes in a short prayer. Do well Naruto-kun. I believe in you. Nagato then felt Zetsu melt over his body and take control of his hands as he formed a hand seal. Gedo, Rinnya Tensei no Jutsu, Outer Path, Samsara of Heavenly Life Technique, said Zetsu for Nagato as he forced the Rinnegan wielder to channel his chakra. Nagato felt the strain immediately from the technique as blood rolled out of his nose and his hair immediately turned white, along with his body turning frail again. Nagato also turned back into the old man he looked like beforehand as his technique took effect. Zetsu melted back off of Nagato as the once redhead let out a few shallow breaths. Who did you bring back? Questioned Nagato as the masked man walked over to him. That's of no concern to you, said the masked man as he placed a hand over Nagato's eyes. Holding his hand there for a few seconds, the masked man then pushed the dying man down as he took both his Rinnegan out. Thank you for collecting at least 6 Bayu for me. But with your betrayal, you're useless to me. Especially as you are now. Goodbye, Nagato. The masked man left in a swirling vortex as Nagato was alone. I'm sorry, Conan, thought Nagato with his last breath as his body finally gave out on him. Conan would eventually come up from running errands to find him and surely be devastated. Nagato prayed she'd stay strong and led a Megakure to peace in his death. Naruto would surely help with that, and that allowed Nagato to die with a smile on his face. Unknown location. The masked man appeared in a devoid-looking place that had what appeared to be a fossil of a dinosaur as its building structure. The masked man took a deep breath before walking inside of his hideout. It was a short travel to where he could feel another man sitting in his hideout. You actually went through with it, said the man with a smile on his face as the masked man just nodded his head. The masked man then handed the man the 2 Rinnegan as he easily placed them both back in his empty eye sockets. Feels good to be back. Glad to have you back, Uchiha Madara, said Zetsu as the man looked up with both Rinnegan shining bright. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.